Well, we're getting information from a press release that the American Mule Museum and Laws Railroad Museum, they're excited and proud to announce an upcoming alliance. The American Mule Museum, dedicated to the preservation and history and contributions of the American Mule, has donated $20,000 to the Laws Railroad Museum. Purpose of this donation is to assist the completion of the display barn for the historic 20-mule Team Death Valley borax wagons owned and constructed by the Death Valley Conservancy. Now, the press release notes this collaboration not only helps to enable the display of the wagons in the mule capital of the world, but also recognizes the distinctive relationship between these important history-based organizations. Laws Museum, dedicated to the preservation of Owens Valley and Eastern Sierra history. Death Valley Conservancy supports many projects, including historic preservation in Death Valley National Park, as well as the American Mule Museum, champions of the Great American Mule, all bringing unique and valuable contributions to this partnership. Now, the press release says the soon-to-be completed Laws Museum exhibit barn will house the iconic full-scale working reproduction of the Death Valley 20-mule team wagons that made their debut to an estimated worldwide audience of 40 million viewers during the 2017 Tournament of Roses parade. Will be the initial focus of these three organizations working together. Now, the board of directors of the American Mule Museum, the press release says, wishes to congratulate Death Valley Conservancy and Laws Railroad Museum for their outstanding work in making the exhibit barn a reality. Looking forward to exciting joint projects in the future. American Mule Museum proud to make this donation, the press release notes, and is enthusiastic and prepared to help tell the story at Laws of the Great American Mule and its remarkable contributions to the West and the Eastern Sierra. And that press release notes the Laws Museum, thankful for the American Mule Museum's generous donation, continues to seek funding to complete that barn project. If you would like to make a contribution to any of those 501c3 entities, you can go to lawsmuseum.org, dvconservancy.org, or mulemuseum.org. Well, Deb Murphy filed a story noting how long has Big Pine's Veterans Path been around. She writes, let's just say if your bike had training wheels when it first was brought up, you'd be getting your driver's license by now. Now, according to Inyo County 4th District Supervisor Mark Tillemans, a native Piner, the effort to provide safe passage from the east corner of Baker Creek Road and U.S. Highway 395 to the Veterans Memorial, side of the Roosevelt Pine, and the massive flagpole at 168, Highway 168, started with the Big Pine Civic Club in 2007. Now, the project was linked with the repaving of the parking lot at the site in a grant proposal to tap into funding through the Great Basin Unified Air Pollution Control District Environmental Public Benefits Grant Block Grants. Now, the Great Basin funds represent fines levied against the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power for air pollution off Owens Lake. Funds were available in 2014. Project went from the Civic Club to the American Legion Post 457 in Big Pine, registered nonprofit and logical lead, as every Memorial Day, the Post pays homage to the community soldiers. Now, anyone who wants to walk to the annual ceremony, Deb Murphy writes, has to hope they're not plowed down as vehicles accelerate to full throttle highway speeds just feet away. Now, the road shoulder is narrow along the south end of the proposed path, leaving very little margin for error. Now, the parking lot was repaved, but there's still no veterans path. The hang-up, ironically, is the LADWP. The path would take up a 6-foot by roughly a quarter mile of the city's land. Now, Supervisor Tillemans and Inyo County Administrator Kevin Caruncio went through the history of the issues at last Tuesday's Inyo County Board of Supervisors meeting. The supervisors concluded that if they couldn't get a reasonable agreement with LADWP by the end of April, the path project would be replaced with a paving project in Lone Pine. Deb Murphy's full story posted on SierraWave.net. Well, the Inyo County Science Fair was held last week. Hey, 65 students from 5 schools participated. 10 students were selected to move on to the Regional Science Fair in Fontana coming up in April, including Ben Rowan, Bishop Elementary School, 4th grade. The effect of parachute size. Blake Wisenreed, Round Valley 5th grader. Want dinner? Use the winner. Lucy Flores and Paige Johnson, Big Pine 7th graders. School zone speed and the slow down marquee. I like that one. Amelia Blakey, Home Street Middle School 7th grader. What color attracts the most insects? Amy Lee, also from Home Street Middle School, 7th grader. How well do various soaps work in washing hands? And Nicolette Maxey, Home Street Middle School 7th graders. Do children have the same gender stereotyping mindset as adults? A little heavy for me, but okay. Owen Hildebrand, Home Street Middle School 8th graders. Alfalfa, is it as tough as we think? Well, as Riley Arcularius and Evelina Dondero, Round Valley 8th graders. Flood irrigation efficiency. Congratulations to all the winners, and we do have that press release posted on SierraWave.net. Well, Sierra Wave Media was advised of what Deb Murphy says was a pretty scary rumor last week. Deb ran it down. Now the rumor, all of the residents of Rovana, one of the last bastions of affordable family housing in Inyo County, got 60-day eviction notices. Now, word of mouth escalated the rumor Mammoth, either the ski area or some other big employer, willing to pay a substantial rental rate increase to provide housing for employees. Thankfully, that's not true. Inyo County First District Supervisor Dan Tothero had already ran down that rumor, which would have seriously impacted some of his constituents. Now, a handful of tenants were sent letters requesting yard cleanup with the threat of eviction if the work wasn't done. Tothero's source of the explanation was Rovana's property manager. Sierra Wave didn't get a call back, but Deb Murphy writes, a county supervisor can be considered a reliable source. We'll be back with a weather report.